Let's look at this same problem and implement the solution with a for loop. I've started out with my start and my stop, my declarations, and my user input. If you notice, I took out my counter variable declaration, and that is because with for loops, our loop counter variable is declared and initialized inside of the for loop. So I begin with the keyword for, and I put in my counter variable and initialize it. And then I say to what number? At what number do I want this loop to start? Well, that's our user input. And then finally I put in the keyword step, and this is how much each time the loop goes through, how much should counter be incremented each time. So I'm going to say step 2. Again, I like to put my end for right away so I don't forget it. And then I have to say, what do I want it to do? I want it to output counter. It's creating a variable called counter, setting it equal to 0, and this loop is going to run until it reaches user input, and each time it runs it's going to increase our loop control variable by 2. So to begin, counter is 0. 0 is going up to user input. We're going to output 0, and then we're going to add 2 to counter, so counter is now 2. We don't have a number that we set for user input. Let's use 3 like we used in the last example. 3 to the number, step up to the number 2, so it's still less than that, less than 3. We're going to output the number 2, and then we're going to add 2 more to counter, so counter is now 4. 4 is already up to the user input, it's now past it, so then our for loop is going to end. The same goal is reached using both the for and the while loop. With our while loop, we declare a counter outside of the loop, and we would be able to use that counter variable again. Or with this for loop, we created the counter variable just for use inside of the loop, and once the loop exits, we wouldn't be able to use what was in counter again. And we'll talk more about local and global variables, that's the difference between the two of these, as we get into Java and experience more with our programs.